Jake Martinez looked out the small window of his transport ship. Stars filled the black space around him. This was his first big job as a diplomat. He was going to a space station where humans and aliens would try to make peace. The ship moved, closer to the station. Jake could see it now. It was huge and round with lights all over it. Ships from different worlds were docked there. Some looked like human ships. Others were strange shapes he had never seen before. "We will dock in 5 minutes," the pilot said over the speaker. Jake checked his uniform one more time. Everything had to be perfect. The peace talks were very important. If they failed, there might be war between humans and the Valari Empire. The Valari were cat-like aliens. They had fur, long tails, and big golden eyes. Jake had seen pictures of them, but he had never met one in person. The other diplomats told him that Valari were proud and could be mean to humans. The ship landed with a soft bump. Jake picked up his bag and walked to the exit. The door opened with a hiss. Cool air rushed into the ship. A human woman was waiting for him. She wore a blue uniform with gold buttons. Her brown hair was pulled back tight. "You must be Jake Martinez," she said. "I am Amy Foster. I lead the human team here." "Nice to meet you," Jake said. He shook her hand. "Come with me," Amy said. "I will show you around and tell you about your job." They walked through long halls. The walls were white and clean. Other beings walked past them. Jake saw humans, but also aliens he did not know. Some were tall and thin. Others were short with blue skin. "The station has beings from 12 different worlds," Amy said. "But we are here to work with the Valari. They control a big part of space near Earth." They stopped at a door. Amy pressed her hand on a scanner. The door opened. "This is the main meeting room," she said. The room was large. A long table sat in the middle. Chairs were placed around it. Some chairs looked normal. Others were different shapes for different types of beings. "You will work with one Valari diplomat," Amy said. "Her name is Kira Thornweave. She is very smart but not friendly to humans." Jake felt his stomach get tight. "What do you mean? She does not like humans much. But she is good at her job. You must try to work with her." Amy led him to another room. This one was smaller. 2 desks sat across from each other. One had human things on it. The other was empty. "This is your office," Amy said. "You will share it with Kira. She should be here soon." Jake put his bag down and sat at his desk. He looked at the papers there. They were about trade between Earth and the Valari worlds. The door opened. Jake looked up and saw her. Kira Thornweave was tall and thin. Her fur was golden brown with dark spots. Her ears stood up on top of her head. They looked like cat ears but bigger. Her eyes were bright gold. Behind her, a long tail moved back and forth. She wore a red robe with silver trim. It looked important and expensive. "You are the new human," she said. Her voice was soft but cold. "Yes, I am Jake Martinez." He stood up and held out his hand. Kira looked at his hand but did not take it. Her tail moved faster. It whipped from side to side behind her. "I see," she said. She walked to her desk and sat down. Jake put his hand down. His face felt hot. She clearly did not want to shake hands with him. For the next hour, they worked in silence. Jake read papers about trade rules. Kira worked on her computer. Every time Jake looked at her, her tail was moving. It lashed back and forth like an angry snake. Her ears were flat against her head. She would not look at him. When she had to give him papers, she put them on his desk and walked away quickly. Jake tried to be nice. "The weather on the station is nice today," he said. Kira's tail moved even faster. "We are in space. There is no weather," she said without looking up. "I meant the air temperature," Jake said. Kira said nothing. Her tail kept moving. At lunchtime, Jake went to the food area. He got a sandwich and sat at a table. Other humans sat with him. "How is it going with Kira?" asked Ben Clark, another diplomat. "Not good," Jake said. "I think she hates me." "She hates all humans," said Lisa Park, "but you especially. Her tail has not stopped moving since you got here." "What does that mean?" Jake asked. "When Volari are angry or upset, their tails move a lot," Ben said. "When they are calm, their tails stay still." Jake looked across the room. Kira sat alone, at a table. She was eating something that looked like fish. Her tail hung down behind her chair. It was not moving at all. "See?" Lisa said. "When she is away from humans, her tail is still. When she is near you, it goes crazy." Jake felt bad. He had not done anything wrong. But Kira clearly did not like him. This was going to make the peace talks very hard. He went back to the office after lunch. Kira was already there. The moment he walked in, her tail started moving again. It swished back and forth behind her chair. Jake sat down at his desk. He tried to focus on his work, but he could see her tail moving. It never stopped. Sometimes it moved fast, sometimes it moved slow, but it always moved when he was there. "Kira," he said finally, "have I done something to upset you?" She looked at him for just a second. Her golden eyes met his. Then she looked away quickly. "No," she said. "We have work to do." But her tail moved even faster now. Jake spent the rest of the day trying to understand what he had done wrong. He was polite. He was quiet. He did his work. But nothing made Kira's tail stop moving. When the day ended, Kira left quickly. Jake stayed and worked late. He wanted to do a good job, even if his partner did not like him. Amy came to check on him. "How was your first day?" she asked. "Kira really does not like me," Jake said. "Her tail never stops moving when I am around." "That is what I expected," Amy said. "Just do your job. Try not to make her more angry." Jake went to his room that night feeling sad. He wanted to help make peace between humans and Volari. But if Kira hated him, how could they work together? He looked out his window at the stars. Tomorrow would be another day. He would try again to work with Kira. Maybe she would get used to him. Maybe her tail would stop moving so much. But deep down, Jake was not sure that would happen. Kira seemed to really dislike him, and he did not know why. The next morning, Jake woke up early. He wanted to get to the office before Kira. Maybe if he was already working when she came in, things would be better. He got to the office and sat at his desk. Papers were spread out everywhere. The peace talks would start today. Jake and Kira had to prepare many documents. The door opened. Kira walked in. She wore a blue robe today. Her tail started moving the moment she saw Jake. "Good morning," Jake said. Kira nodded but did not speak. She sat at her desk and turned on her computer. Her tail swished behind her chair. They worked for 2 hours without talking. Jake read trade agreements. Kira worked on boundary maps. Every time Jake looked up, her tail was moving. At 10 o'clock, they had to go to the main meeting room. The first peace talk session would begin. Jake gathered his papers. Kira did the same. They walked to the meeting room together. Her tail moved the whole way. The meeting room was full of beings from both worlds. Humans sat on one side of the long table. Valari sat on the other side. Jake and Kira sat next to each other in the middle. The talks began. An old human man talked about trade. A Valari woman with silver fur talked about space borders. Jake took notes. Next to him, Kira's tail moved under the table. During the first break, Jake went to get water. He saw other Valari talking in a corner. They were looking at him and Kira. They seemed to be laughing about something. Jake felt embarrassed. They were probably laughing because Kira hated working with him. When he came back, there was a cup of coffee on his desk. It smelled good. It was made just the way he liked it, with cream and 2 sugars. "Did you bring me coffee?" he asked Kira. She was reading papers. She did not look up. "I do not know what you mean," she said, but Jake was sure she had brought it. No one else knew how he liked his coffee. The talks continued for 3 more days. Each day was the same. Kira's tail moved whenever Jake was near. She would not look at him. She spoke only when she had to. But strange things kept happening. Each morning, Jake found coffee on his desk. It was always perfect. When he asked Kira about it, she said she did not know anything. Sometimes Jake found helpful notes on his papers. They were written in neat handwriting. The notes helped him understand the hard parts of the agreements. But when he asked Kira if she wrote them, she said no. One evening, Jake was working late. Most people had gone to their rooms. He was alone in the office reading a long document about mining rights. The document was very hard to understand. Jake rubbed his eyes. He was tired and confused. When he looked down at his desk again, there was a sandwich there. It was the kind he liked, turkey with cheese. Next to it was a note that said, "You need to eat." Jake looked around the office. No one was there, but he was sure Kira had left the food. The next day, Jake watched Kira more carefully. Her tail still moved when he was around, but he started to notice other things. When other humans came to their office, Kira's tail barely moved. It hung still behind her chair. But when Jake came back, it started moving right away. When Kira talked to other Valari, her ears stood up straight. But when she was near Jake, her ears lay flat against her head. Jake thought flat ears meant she was angry. But one day, he saw something that confused him. He was walking past the food area when he saw Kira sitting with 2 other Valari. Her ears were straight up. Her tail was completely still. She looked bored. Then Jake walked into the room to get lunch. The moment Kira saw him, her ears went flat. Her tail started moving. But the other Valari at her table started making soft sounds. It sounded like they were laughing. One of them, a Valari with black fur, said something to Kira in their language. Kira's fur seemed to change color. It got darker around her face. Jake got his food and left quickly. He was even more confused now. Why did the other Valari laugh when they saw Kira's reaction to him? That afternoon, Jake decided to ask Ben about Valari body language. "Do you know what it means when a Valari's ears are flat?" Jake asked. "Usually it means they are angry or scared," Ben said. "What about when their tail moves a lot?" "That means they are upset or excited about something bad," Ben said. "Why?" "Kira's ears are always flat around me, and her tail never stops moving." Ben looked sorry for Jake. "She really does not like you. I am surprised she has not asked for a new partner." But that was what confused Jake. Kira had not asked for a new partner. She could have. The other Valari diplomats could work with him instead. But Kira stayed. More strange things happened over the next few days. Jake found more helpful notes on his desk. Someone had organized his papers in a better way. When he could not find an important document, it appeared on his desk the next morning. One night, Jake was working very late again. He fell asleep at his desk. When he woke up, there was a soft blanket over his shoulders. Jake was starting to think that maybe Kira did not hate him as much as everyone thought. Her actions were kind, even if her body language seemed angry. On Friday, Jake decided to test something. He left work early and hid around the corner from his office. He wanted to see if Kira would come back. After an hour, Kira came down the hall. She looked around to make sure no one was watching. Then she went into the office. Jake waited for 10 minutes. Then he walked quietly to the door and looked inside. Kira was at his desk. She was putting papers in neat piles. She had brought him another cup of coffee. She was writing a note to help him understand a hard part of the trade agreement. Her tail was completely still. Her ears were up. She looked calm and happy. Jake stepped back from the door. He was very confused now. When Kira thought he was not around, she was helpful and kind. Her tail was still, which meant she was calm, but when he was there, her tail moved and her ears went flat. Everyone said this meant she was angry. Jake did not understand. Why would Kira be nice to him when he was not there but act angry when he was there? That night, Jake could not sleep. He kept thinking about Kira's behavior. Nothing made sense. Maybe Valari body language was different than what the other humans thought. Maybe there was something they did not understand. Jake decided he needed to learn more about Valari culture. The next day was Saturday. There were no meetings. Maybe he could find some books or videos about how Valari acted. As he finally fell asleep, Jake wondered if he had been wrong about Kira all along. Maybe she did not hate him. Maybe something else was happening. But what? Saturday morning came with no meetings planned. Jake spent the day in the station's library looking for information about Valari culture. He found some books and videos, but most of them were basic. They said the same things everyone had told. Him. Moving tails meant anger. Flat ears meant hostility. But Jake was not convinced anymore. What he saw did not match what the book said. By evening, Jake felt frustrated and tired. He had learned nothing new. He decided to take a walk around the station to clear his head. The station had an observation deck on the top level. It had big windows that looked out at space. Jake had heard it was beautiful at night when most people were asleep. He took the elevator up to the observation deck. The doors opened to a quiet, dark room. Stars filled the windows like tiny diamonds. It was peaceful here. Jake walked closer to the windows. The view was amazing. He could see nebulas in the distance, colored clouds of gas and dust. Ships moved slowly between the stars. "It is beautiful, is it not?" Jake jumped. He turned around and saw Kira standing near the other end of the room. She was looking out a different window. Her tail hung straight down behind her. It was not moving at all. "I am sorry," Jake said. "I did not know anyone was here. I can leave." "No," Kira said. "You do not need to leave." Jake was surprised. This was the most friendly thing Kira had ever said to him, and her tail was still not moving. He walked a little closer but stayed far enough away to not bother her. They stood in silence for a few minutes, both looking at the stars. "Kira," Jake said finally, "can I ask you something?" She turned to look at him. Her golden eyes caught the light from the stars. "What do you want to know?" Jake took a deep breath. "Have I done something to offend you, or your people?" Kira's eyes opened wide. Her ears went up straight. "What do you mean?" "Your tail always moves when I am around. Your ears go flat." Everyone says this means you are angry with me, but I do not know what I did wrong. Kira stared at him for a long moment. Her tail started to move, but just a little. You think I am angry with you? Yes, Jake said. From the first day we met, your tail has been moving. It never stops when I am near you. Kira's tail moved more now, but something was different. The movement looked softer somehow. Jake, Kira said slowly, do you know what it means when a Valari's tail moves? The other humans told me it means you are angry or upset. Kira made a sound that Jake had never heard before. It was soft and musical. Was she laughing? Oh, Jake, she said. Your people have it backwards. What do you mean? Kira turned to face him completely. Her tail was moving in a gentle swaying motion now. When a Valari's tail moves, it means we are comfortable. It means we are interested. It means we like what is happening. Jake felt his world turn upside down. But the book said, your books are wrong, Kira said. When our tails are still, it means we are uncomfortable. It means we are being formal or polite. Moving tails show our real feelings. Jake's mouth fell open. So, when your tail moves around me, it means I enjoy being near you, Kira said, softly. It means you make me feel happy and comfortable. Jake felt dizzy. Everything he thought he knew was wrong. What about your ears? He asked. They always go flat when you see me. Flat ears show focus and respect, Kira said. When we are very interested in someone, our ears go down to show we are paying attention. Standing ears are for casual conversations. Jake sat down on a nearby bench. His legs felt weak. So you do not hate me? Kira's tail moved faster now. She walked closer and sat on the bench next to him. Hate you? She said. Jake, I have been trying to show you that I like you since the day we met. The coffee, Jake said suddenly. The notes, the blanket when I fell asleep. Yes, Kira said. I wanted to take care of you. I wanted to help you. But why did you say you did not know about those things? Kira looked down at her hands. Because I was not sure if you liked me too. I thought if you knew I was doing those things, you might ask for a different partner. Jake laughed, but not in a mean way. I thought you wanted a different partner. I thought you could not stand working with me. Never, Kira said firmly. I asked to work with you. You asked to work with me? Yes. I read your reports from your other diplomatic jobs. You are thoughtful and kind. You try to understand other cultures. I wanted to meet you. Jake felt his face get warm. But everyone said you did not like humans. Some of my people do not trust humans, Kira said. But I am not some of my people. I think humans are interesting. I think you are interesting. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Jake watched Kira's tail move in slow, happy waves. I am sorry, Jake said. I misunderstood everything. It is not your fault, Kira said. Our peoples do not understand each other well. But maybe we can help change that. Jake looked at her. How? By learning about each other, by being honest about our feelings, by showing others that humans and Valari can be friends. Kira's tail moved in a new pattern now. It was faster but gentle, like she was excited. Is there more I should know about Valari body language? Jake asked. Kira smiled. Jake had never seen her smile before. It was beautiful. Much more, she said. For example, when we avoid eye contact, it means we are being polite. Direct eye contact is very personal for us. So, when you would not look at me, I was trying to be respectful. I did not want you to think I was being too forward. Jake shook his head. And I thought you were trying to avoid me. Also, Kira said, when we do not touch someone, like when I did not shake your hand, it is because touch is very special to us. We only touch people we are close to. Oh, Jake said. He felt embarrassed about trying to shake her hand on the first day. But, Kira said, and her tail moved in quick, happy movements, if someone earns our trust, we like to touch them. She reached out slowly and put her hand on Jake's arm. Her hand was warm and soft. Jake could feel the short fur on her fingers. Thank you for telling me the truth, Jake said. Thank you for asking, Kira said. I was worried you would never understand. They sat together looking at the stars. Jake felt lighter than he had in days. Everything made sense now. Kira did not hate him. She liked him. Maybe she liked him a lot. Tomorrow the peace talks continue, Kira said. Yes, Jake said. But now I think they will go much better. I think so too, Kira said. Her tail moved in slow, content circles. Jake smiled as he watched her tail. Finally, he was learning to read the real meaning behind its movements. And what it was telling him made him very happy indeed. Monday morning felt different to Jake. He walked to the office with a smile on his face. For the first time since arriving at the station, he was excited to see Kira. When he opened the office door, Kira was already there. She looked up from her desk and her tail started moving right away. But now Jake knew what it meant. She was happy to see him. Good morning, Kira, Jake said. Good morning, Jake, she replied. Her ears went flat, but Jake now understood this meant she was focusing on him with respect. They sat at their desks to prepare for the day's peace talks. But this time, Jake felt comfortable asking questions. Kira, can you help me understand this trade document? I am confused about Section 12. Kira's tail moved faster. Of course. Let me explain it to you. She came over to his desk. This was the first time she had come so close to him during work. She pointed to different parts of the document and explained them clearly. Your questions are very good, she said. You think about details that others miss. Jake felt proud. Thank you. I want to understand everything correctly. As the morning went on, Jake learned more about Valari body language. When Kira was thinking hard, her tail made small circles. When she was pleased with something, it swayed from side to side. When she was worried, it moved in quick, short movements. At the peace talks that day, everything was different. Jake and Kira worked together like a real team. When one of them spoke, the other listened carefully and added helpful information. The other diplomats noticed the change right away. During a break, Amy Foster came over to Jake. What happened to you two? She asked. You are working together much better today. We had a talk, Jake said. We understand each other better now. Amy looked confused. But Kira's tail is moving more than ever. Jake smiled. I know. It means she is happy. Amy frowned. Are you sure? That seems backwards from what we were taught. I am sure, Jake said. That afternoon, Jake suggested something new to the other diplomats. I think we should learn more about Valari culture, he said during a human team meeting. We might be misunderstanding some of their signals. Ben Clark shook his head. We have studied their culture for years. We know what their body language means. But what if we are wrong about some things? Jake asked. Amy looked interested. What do you mean? Jake looked around the room. What if we asked them to teach us? What if we taught them about human culture, too? Lisa Park laughed. The Valari think they know everything about humans already. But do they really? Jake asked. Maybe they misunderstand us, too. Amy thought about this. It is worth trying. Jake, why don't you and Kira work on a cultural exchange session? You can present it to both teams tomorrow. Jake felt excited. This could help both sides understand each other better. That evening, Jake and Kira stayed late in their office to work on the presentation. Jake was not tired anymore when he worked late. Having Kira there made everything more enjoyable. Tell me about human handshakes, Kira said. Why do you touch hands when you meet someone? It shows friendship and respect, Jake explained. It is a way to say, I trust you, without words. Kira's tail made interested movements. That is very different from our way. We do not touch strangers because touch is so special to us. What do Valari do when they meet someone new? Jake asked. We bow our heads slightly and keep our tails still. This shows respect and politeness. Jake remembered their first meeting. Kira had not bowed her head to him. Her tail had been moving. You did not do that when we met, he said. Kira looked embarrassed. Her tail made quick, nervous movements. No, I was too excited to meet you. I forgot to be polite. Jake felt warm inside. Even on the first day, Kira had been happy to see him. They worked on their presentation for 3 hours. Jake learned many things about Valari culture. Kira learned about human customs, too. Humans make eye contact to show honesty, Jake told her. And Valari avoid eye contact to show respect, Kira said. No wonder we confuse each other. What about smiling? Jake asked. Do Valari smile? Yes, but not as much as humans. For us, smiling is very personal. We only smile at people we care about. Jake remembered that Kira had smiled at him in the observation deck. That made him happy. The next day, they gave their presentation to both the human and Valari diplomatic teams. Jake felt nervous at first, but Kira's moving tail reminded him that she was there to support him. We want to talk about cultural misunderstandings, Jake began. They explained how humans and Valari had been reading each other's signals wrong. The room was quiet as everyone listened. So when a Valari's tail moves, they are comfortable? Amy asked. Yes, Kira said. And when humans make direct eye contact, they are being honest, not rude. A Valari diplomat with silver fur spoke up. We thought humans stared at us because they saw us as threats. And we thought Valari were angry with us because their tails moved, Ben said. Jake and Kira spent an hour answering questions. By the end, both sides looked surprised and thoughtful. This explains many problems we have had, said the silver-furred Valari. We should have asked these questions years ago, Amy said. The afternoon peace talks went much better than any day before. Both sides understood each other's signals correctly. When a Valari diplomat's tail started moving during a discussion about trade routes, the humans knew it meant interest, not anger. When a human diplomat made direct eye contact while talking about mining rights, the Valari knew it meant honesty, not aggression. For the first time since the talks began, both sides started to make real progress on their agreements. That evening, Kira and Jake celebrated in their office with coffee and sandwiches. I think we did something good today, Jake said. We did something very good, Kira agreed. Her tail was making happy, swaying movements. Jake watched her tail and realized something. Kira, your tail is beautiful when it moves. Kira's fur changed, color around her face getting darker. You think so? Yes. It is like watching a dance. It shows your feelings so clearly. I am glad you can read it now, Kira said softly. They sat together in comfortable silence. Jake felt grateful for the misunderstanding that had brought them together. If he had never asked Kira about her behavior, they might never have learned the truth. Jake, Kira said, I want to tell you something. What is it? My people have a saying. When two beings understand each other's hearts, they can build bridges between worlds. Jake smiled. I like that saying. I think we are building a bridge, Kira said. Her tail moved in slow, happy circles. I think so too, Jake said. As he watched Kira's tail move, Jake knew that everything had changed between them. They were not just diplomatic partners anymore. They were friends. Maybe they were something even more special than that. The peace talks still had several days left, but Jake already felt like they had won something important. They had found understanding. And understanding, Jake was learning, was the beginning of everything good between different peoples. The final week of peace talks arrived faster than Jake expected. Thanks to the cultural understanding sessions he and Kira had started, both sides were working together better than anyone had hoped. Trade agreements that had seemed impossible were now being signed. Border disputes that had lasted for years were being solved. Both humans and Valari were learning to read each other's signals correctly. Jake felt proud of what they had accomplished, but he also felt sad. Soon the talks would end. He would have to go back to Earth. Kira would return to her home world. They would probably never see each other again. On Thursday, Jake and Kira were working on the final documents. The treaty signing ceremony would happen tomorrow. Everything was almost finished. I cannot believe it is almost over, Jake said. Kira's tail made slow, sad movements. I do not want it to end either. They had become very close over the past weeks. Kira had taught Jake many things about Valari culture. Jake had shared stories about Earth and human customs. They spent their breaks walking around the station together. In the evenings, they often went to the observation deck to look at the stars. Other people had noticed their friendship too. The human and Valari diplomats often smiled when they saw Jake and Kira together. Even Amy had said that their partnership was helping both sides trust each other more. Jake, Kira said softly, what will happen after tomorrow? I do not know, Jake said honestly. I will probably get a new assignment on Earth. And I will go back to the Valari capital world, Kira said. Her tail was very still now, which Jake knew meant she was unhappy. They worked in silence for a while. Jake tried to focus on the documents, but his mind kept thinking about saying goodbye to Kira. That evening, they went to the observation deck one last time. They sat on their usual bench and looked out at the stars. I will miss this, Kira said. I will miss it too, Jake said. I will miss working with you. Kira turned to look at him. Her golden eyes reflected the starlight. Only working with me? Jake felt his face get warm. No, I will miss everything about you. Kira's tail started moving in a pattern Jake had never seen before. It was slow and steady, making big circles behind her. Kira, what does that tail movement mean? Jake asked. Kira looked embarrassed. It is hard to explain. Please try. Kira was quiet for a long moment. It is the movement we make when we want to bond with someone, when we want them to be our life partner. Jake's heart started beating faster. Life partner? Yes. It is like marriage for humans, but deeper. It means two beings choose to share their lives completely. Jake stared at her. Are you saying... I am saying that I care about you very much, Jake. More than just as a friend or work partner. Jake felt happy and sad at the same time. I care about you too, Kira. Very much. But we live on different worlds. How could we... I do not know, Kira said. But I wanted you to know how I feel. They sat together in silence, both thinking about their impossible situation. The next morning was the treaty signing ceremony. The main meeting room was decorated with flags from both worlds. Important leaders had come from Earth and the Valari, capital, to sign the final agreements. Jake put on his best uniform. When he got to the office, Kira was wearing a beautiful golden robe with blue trim. She looked stunning. You look wonderful, Jake said. Thank you, Kira replied. Her tail was making nervous movements. At the ceremony, Jake and Kira sat with the other diplomats who had worked on the treaty. Leaders from both worlds gave speeches about peace and friendship. When it was time to sign the documents, the human and Valari leaders shook hands. The crowd cheered. Jake felt proud to have been part of this historic moment. But during the celebration, Jake noticed something strange. Other Valari in the room kept looking at Kira. They were whispering to each other and pointing at her tail. Jake looked at Kira's tail. It was making the same slow, circling movement it had made the night before. The bonding movement. An older Valari woman with white fur came over to them. "Young Kira," she said in accented English, "is there something you wish to announce?" Kira's fur changed color around her face. "I do not know what you mean, Elder Zara." Elder Zara smiled. "Your tale tells a different story. When a Valari makes the bonding movement in public, it is a declaration." Jake felt confused. "A declaration of what?" "She is telling everyone that she wishes to bond with you," Elder Zara explained. "It is like asking for marriage in front of witnesses." Jake looked at Kira in shock. "You did not tell me it was public." "I did not mean to," Kira said quickly. "I cannot control my tail when I am near you. It shows my true feelings." Elder Zara laughed. "The heart knows what it wants, even when the mind is not ready." By now, other people had noticed what was happening. Both human and Valari diplomats were gathering around them. Amy Foster pushed through the crowd. "What is going on?" "Kira just proposed to Jake," Elder Zara said cheerfully. The crowd went quiet. Then everyone started talking at once. Jake felt overwhelmed. His face was hot with embarrassment, but also with something else. Happiness. "Kira," he said loud enough for everyone to hear. "I accept." The crowd cheered. Kira's tail started moving so fast it was just a blur. "But we still have the problem of living on different worlds," Amy said practically. Elder Zara spoke up. "Actually, we have been hoping for something like this. The Valari government wants to create a permanent cultural exchange program. We need humans who understand our culture to help run it. And Earth needs diplomats who understand Valari culture," Amy added. "Jake, would you be interested in becoming our first permanent ambassador to the Valari worlds?" Jake looked at Kira. Her tail was making the happiest movements he had ever seen. "Yes," he said. "I would like that very much." The celebration continued around them, but Jake only had eyes for Kira. She reached out and took his hand. Her touch was warm and soft. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "Living on a different world will not be easy." "I am sure," Jake said, "as long as we are together." 6 months later, Jake stood on the balcony of his new home on the Valari capital world. The sky was purple with 2 orange suns setting in the distance. It was beautiful, but very different from Earth. Kira came out to join him on the balcony. Her tail was making content, swaying movements. "How was your day?" she asked. "Good. I helped 3 human families settle into their new homes. The cultural exchange program is working well." "I am glad," Kira said. She leaned against him, and Jake put his arm around her. "I got a message from Amy today," Jake said. 5 more human diplomats want to come work here, and 10 Valari diplomats want to go to Earth." "That is wonderful," Kira said. "Our peoples are really learning to understand each other." Jake looked down at Kira's tail. It was making slow, happy circles. "I love watching your tail," he said. "It still amazes me that I thought it meant you were angry." "I love that you learned to read it," Kira said. "You see my feelings even when I try to hide them." As the sun set completely, the first stars began to appear in the alien sky. Jake thought about how much his life had changed. A year ago, he had been a junior diplomat who was afraid of making mistakes. Now he was an ambassador who had helped bring 2 species together. But the best part was not his job or his new home. The best part was the Valari woman beside him, whose tale told him every day that she loved him. "Jake," Kira said softly. "Yes, I'm glad I could not control my tail around you," Jake laughed. "I am glad you taught me what it really meant." They stood together under the alien stars, 2 beings from different worlds who had found understanding and love. Around them, their 2 species were learning to do the same. And it had all started with a tail that moved when it should have been, still showing feelings that were the opposite of what they seemed. Sometimes, Jake thought, the most important communications happen without words. Sometimes, you just have to learn how to read the signs.